about to commence. This time, the Waratahs running right to left in the dark shorts. Boolaroo left to right. The kick-off taken by Mowbray will go right back to Fraser. Fraser takes it, puts the ball high, into touch, over his own 25 by about 10 yards in the first line out in the second half, with the Boolaroos trailing 11-0. Throw in by Powell this time, and Dornay makes a good run. Another ruck. Charging into these rucks, both teams. Lopes comes away for Boolaroo, kicks downfield. Mowbray will have to chase this one. Going back also is Powell. Mowbray will get to it first. Down the far wing comes Carroll. Hampers Mowbray. They get it through. And a good kick, but he was put into touch. It was Powell.
Stepped in the touch as he went to take the kick, then, and he was Harris and stepped in his effort to get the ball away. It was a great gain by Lopes, and his kick, I would say, something in the order of 80 yards.
That's a good kick. Hipwell puts the ball up. McNamara gets it away, and Hamilton still standing in that tackle. As Boolaroo are driven back now as the ball is towed through, but it's picked up by Carroll on the far side. He's out over the touchline. It was Birds that eventually went out with the ball. Throw in by Dunnicliffe on the far touch for the Waratahs. 11-0 in the second half of the grand final. A couple of clouts going in there, lefts and rights, but the referee decides to have a scrum.
Probably just a well-earned pat in the back now. I hate to think that rugby players stump each other. I'm led to believe that when they stop smiling, that's when you want to start worrying about it.
Hipple to put the ball in, but it's won by Boolaroo so far. And get right in that scrum, gets it away to Fraser. Fraser puts it up. It's not a good kick this time. Perrin knocks it back. Dornay towed through. Fraser again recovers for Boolaroo. Knocks it down, the winger there. That was Carroll. Throw in by Powell for the Waratahs.
Charge and Dornay have much the same build, and of course wearing those white headbands gives them the impression of being doubles.
I might have picked the wrong player, did I?
No, not at all. Quite the contrary. It's just it makes it a little bit harder. I'm listening to the people who will say, oh, you picked the wrong fellow, but it's not the easiest thing when action's taking place to pick the right one. And with the similarity, it makes it a little bit harder.
I see John Hipwell walking over to have a look at that injured player. An ornament to the game of rugby union, John Hipwell, isn't he?
A fine player and a well-worthy representative of the Australian rugby union. Mind you, Noel, it's also a bit of a tactic to see how badly the fella's hurt, so you know whether to play for him or not. It's always interesting, the sympathy the captain the other team shows you, but you wonder just whether it's sympathy or sizing you up.
I hate you referees that know all the answers, John.
Well, they think you're dumb out there, but you learn, Give you enough time and you'll learn everything.
Players on the Waratahs 25. They're being pushed a little bit by Boolaroo so far in the early part of the second half. Engett having a great game, but Hipwell doesn't let him play that one too well. The ball comes out of the ruck. Fraser toes it through, picked up by Hipwell, but he's trapped on his own 25. Boolaroo pouring through. The ruck is a vigorous one right in the centre of that. It's like a cyclone. More apt to be described by Des Hart than me, because that was rather cyclonic in that middle of that ruck.
I think a certain turbulence in the middle of it too may well have been felt.
And get to put the ball in again for Boolaroo. Boolaroo getting a great great share of this ball, and once again Engard round the side of the scrum. Waratahs defence good, but it will need to be at this stage because Boolaroo, there's Engard again. Well done by Engard. He got that ball away well to Carroll, and Carroll's forced out over the touch, about 10 yards out.
Well, when the last time that Boolaroo and Waratah met, Boolaroo had a fair share of the scrums. Ling did exceedingly well against Horton, and it looks like he's repeating the procedure again today.
Throw in by Waratahs. Lopes takes it down, gets it away to Engard, not quick enough. Fraser, McNamara, Burge knocks it on with his foot, but Hipwell picks it up. Hipwell for the Waratahs. He'll follow that kick through. Hamilton on the far wing, shoots for the corner, back inside it goes, but out over the touchline off the Boolaroo player. The Waratahs to throw in. Boolaroo certainly not letting up at this stage. Dunnicliffe to throw in.
378. He tries from behind the press box.
Once again, Boolaroo with a chance. Perhaps they didn't group round quickly enough now, but Engard once again. Right back to Mowbray. Mowbray pushes the ball back. He kicks from behind his own try line and finds touch about 20 yards out. A good kick under pressure. But my marks go to Engard so far on both sides. I think he's having a very fine game.
For a youngster of 17 years of age, and I think he's the youngest out there, he's playing a magnificent game. With more experience, he should be quite a force in rugby.
Mowbray once again, that left-footed kick out on the full, but he was inside his own 25. Plays about 10 yards over the 25 now, still in the Waratahs territory, and I notice Peter Horton has gone down injured. Peter Horton is the state hooker. He's had quite a good rise in rugby union this season.
Yes, Noel, although Horton played with the Waratahs last year in their premiership side, but he got a great game in Country Week, and he was picked in the state side, and he was also nominated for the trial squad of 40 to continue on training. He's a very robust, hard player. I saw him play against the British Lions in Sydney, and he covered a tremendous amount of field. I think he's the most mobile hooker I've seen for many a day. Perhaps more mobile than one would think.
Well, it speaks a lot for young Ling today because he's virtually, in a way, giving him a bit of a caning in the scrums. But still, Waratah still leading 11-0, and that ruck goes out over the touchline, but the referee will have a scrum about 5 yards in.
I noticed Clive Dick doing a power of work there. The forwards often seem to be unsung. They're in there doing all the hard yak. They're in the rucks, and Charge and Dick have been doing their share together with Lopez and Watini, and I think Little is not shirking in the work he's been doing this afternoon. George Little has the double responsibility of being captain and coach, and he's led the Boolaroo lads well.
Hipwell away it goes to Bear, but Bear can't handle it. Edwin Hipwell goes down and gets up again as Engard is across there, gets away, and Dornay kicks it down towards the centre of the field. Burge coming in, picks it up on the run, but it's a penalty to the Waratahs for interference, John.
Yes. This is the tactics that Boolaroo tried in the first half, and I thought it would seem to be a little bit longer coming than I thought it would be. Referee Hughes had let them have a fair run, but he grabbed them then for interfering with Dorney after kicking the ball.
Mowbray has this ball. It's 5 yards inside of halfway, in the Boolaroo side of halfway. A long kick. It's right in front, and we'll see how Mowbray goes with this one. This could be, in effect, a clincher if he gets this, because Boolaroo will certainly have a long road back. I don't think he's got that one. That one's gone right off the side of his foot, and Fraser kicks downfield. Well taken there, this time by Perrin. Comes up to the halfway mark. Fraser's underneath it once again, inside his own 25. He kicks back and out on the full, but inside his own 25, so the line out will be just inside of halfway by about 5 yards, with Powell to throw in for the Waratahs. Still in the Boolaroo half, only just though. Down the centre it goes. Lopes comes round, but it's out to Fraser. McNamara, Burge up. Fraser, they miss him out. Hamilton can't hold the first pass, but gets it away again to McNamara. Boolaroo standing up on their players now. The ruck forcing Boolaroo back. Boolaroo grouping now. And try to see where the ball is.
I don't think the referee can either. He's going around the pack to have a look at it, and not being able to see it, he blows it up and puts the scrum down.
Lope still had it in his hand. He was probably going to take it home.
And the size of Lopes and the ability of Lopes, I doubt whether there'd be too many argue with. He's right to do so.
Hipperell to put the ball in. Again won by Ling. Fraser gets a good kick in. It's an awkward bounce to Mowbray. Mowbray up towards the halfway mark. Puts a long kick down, a good kick, but it doesn't go out. This time it's Little follows on, a high kick. Dornay. Well, now Boolaroo showing some fire. They've taken the ball, Dornay and the lot. Engard gets it away, but the referee has blown his whistle. Dornay comes out and then falls down. He needs a bit of a rest. The score 11-0 in favour of the Waratahs.
Dornay's take.
It's a penalty now to the Waratahs. Mowbray looks as though he's going to have a shot at goal. It's almost the same position, but off centre this time, as the length of the kick would be 45 yards from goal post and about 20 yards in from touch. Mowbray goes back. That's still short. Fraser underneath it, runs to the far wing. Must kick. Oh, well taken by Dunnicliffe. And there's a run by Charge. Charge goes for the corner, then it was Dornay. Back to Paddington. The ball's quickly heeled. Hipwell knocks it and picks it up. The referee, I think, had blown his whistle. Another penalty to the Waratahs.
Boolaroo's are inclined to play the man, and referee Clive Hughes is picking it up.
Well, this one's closer for Mowbray. Joseph, there was a good run by Dornay down the far wing that time. He's doing a lot of work for the Waratahs.
Dornay's an excellent forward. I think that his true potential has not been really realised.
There's Mowbray now placing this ball carefully. He's just inside the 25 and about 15 yards in from the far touchline. Last two attempts haven't been too good. This one's not good either. Fraser takes it under pressure. There's a chance. It's a barging try. And a try to Charge that time. Good try to Charge. To make it 14-0 in favour of the Waratahs.
Well, I think that perhaps that might have been a very shrewd tactic. I'm probably going out on a limb and saying this, but I wondered whether Mowbray actually kicked for goal then, whether he got the opposition to think he was doing it. He did aim the ball at the post, and he did all the things that are required of a kicker for goal, but that ball went right across the front of the goal post, a little out of character with the type of kick Mowbray takes, and with a try coming up from underneath it, I think it was a very good piece of football. Possibly a missed goal, but it was to the tactics of the Waratah who followed on, and it just seemed out of character the type of goal that Mowbray kicks. Was that probably the nature of a suspicious referee?
Well, this might be a bit your way, John, because if he kicks this one, it's almost identical positions. I don't think he missed the other one on purpose.
Oh, well, apparently. I've joined the ranks of all those commentators who go out on a limb. I've just had the brains torn up from underneath me.
14-0 in favour of the Waratahs.
Tries for the Waratahs,
I know how you
scored by
feel,
Graham Charge, making the scores the Waratahs 14, Boolaroo 0.
Well, it gives them something to think about now.
The Waratahs certainly on top now. Fraser comes back. Kick off this time. Durnay was in there very quickly, but once again, Boolaroo come away with it. It's kicked down to Mowbray. Mowbray puts it back to Burge. Oh, another bad kick by Burge. Burge is not having a good day. I thought he'd be a force to be reckoned with. This time it's Durnay taking it away. His lefts and rights go in, but Cardiff fights are on Tuesday night. It's Engert. Engert round the side. Gets it down over the halfway mark with a good little kick. Hipwell got in his own player's road. Mowbray can't handle it. And that player was certainly offside for the Waratahs. I think it was John Hipwell that was offside that time, but he thought perhaps he'd better have a go. That was a penalty indicated to Boolaroo.
Referee Hughes is being the right act of the courts out there. I think he felt that they went in far too vigorously after the whistle had blown, and they went over the top of Hipwell.
John, I again have made a mistake, but the way Mr. Hughes threw his arm up that time, I thought he was giving the penalty to Boolaroo. Would he have only been waving them back or something?
I think that perhaps he's blown the whistle and making sure he grabbed the right fella that he wanted to penalise. He immediately started to chastise the player and then indicated the team with the right to throw the ball in. That I thought he was anxious to make sure the Boolaroo players were aware of who was being penalised and for what. And in circumstances like that, I think he was more inclined to chastise the player, then award the kick.
Yes.
He had stopped play, but he wanted to make sure that his points were made.
I took it when he put his left hand out that it was towards Boolaroo's way.
Yes, that's normally the way it's done too, and perhaps he might have been a bit anxious to stop any rough play developing and running fast.
Mowbray puts it down, but Lopes takes it. Lopes has a kick. He kicks high. I think Mowbray has kicked it forward. Perrin picks it up for the Waratahs. A long run, it went sideways, but now he's set them on the attack. He's got Durnay inside. Durnay's collared. He gives a great pass there to Harrison. Harrison's down on the 25. It's picked up by Adam. Adam gets it over to Bear, and Bear is in the corner for the Waratahs. A good team effort by the Waratahs. 17-0 in favour of the Waratahs.
That's the sort of try that you hope to see, and today we saw it in a grand final match with Waratahs showing it how it should be done. I think the keynote was that Durnay waited in position. You could see the play coming to him, and he waited there to link up.
Perrin really started it with a peculiar sort of run that took him across field behind all the ruck and out into the clear on the far side of the field.
That's right. He seemed to skirt behind what appeared to be bad football at first by running diagonally across the field, even losing ground. Then he straightened up, came through, linked up with Durnay, who had been waiting there, and then Durnay drew it back out to a backup support on the far side. But the way Bear came across to make up the back line was a piece of masterly football.
Adam was the one that came down very quickly. I thought he got on with the job pretty well, and I think it was he that passed it to Bear, and a good try to Robbie Bear. 17-0 in favour of the Waratahs. Here's Mowbray's kick from the far touchline, and he's missed again. Still 17-0 in favour of the Waratahs against Boolaroo in the grand final of the Rugby Union. Kick off this time to be taken by Boolaroo. Fraser brings it down. He's allowed to drop kick because of no conversion. Lucky if it goes 10 yards, but it's knocked back by Boolaroo, and Hamilton runs it into touch. Dunnicliffe now to take the throw in just inside the Waratahs half.
That last try by Boolaroo by Waratah shows the speed of the Waratah players. They're very fit and very fast.
Another backline movement. This time it comes over to Powell after being handled by everybody. It's kicked through there by Fraser, G. Fraser. He's lost the ball to Durnay, and Durnay on the Waratahs 25. Sees Waratah win the ruck. Mowbray gets his kick in. Finds touch, but there's a player down. I think it's Durnay again.
Yes, he's taking a tremendous battering out there. They're paying a tremendous amount of attention to Dorney.
I think they paid some attention to Puddycombe in the first half, and now it's Dorney in the second half. Boolaroo certainly not giving up the ship at this stage, 17-0 in favour of the Waratahs.
Mind you, perhaps it'd be well if they don't pay too much attention, or Dorney might start his professional practice. He is by profession a dentist. He might start removing a few teeth out there.
Another player down. This time it's one of the Boolaroo players. Might be able to get close to young Engett, number 9, with a shock of hair there. He's standing with his hands on his hips just behind the referee. And young Engett for Boolaroo is playing a fantastic game. I give full marks to this lad. He's on a losing side, but playing a particularly good game.
He's been moving very well about the field, considering that he has experienced breakaways like Adams and Harrison, Adams and Dorney in the second row coming across to block him. He's been moving around there like the paddock was all his own.
Thrown by Carroll. It's a long one, but it's won by Waratahs, who decide to go for the ruck this time. Couldn't get the ball back cleanly to Hipwell. Hipwell giving it plenty of attention now. The referees decided on a scrum. Engett wins this ball. It's the ball away to Carroll. Carroll puts the ball high back towards the centre. Lopes was underneath it. It's knocked down. It's a chance for Waratahs. If they tow it through, they do just this. Burge meets it under pressure, and Bear couldn't get the ball. Another ruck. Referees decided to stop play there, and he's awarded a penalty.
I would say that the player who was down on the ball failed to release the ball and roll clear of it, and thus incurred the wrath of the referee with a penalty kick. The speed of the Waratah team is probably contributed to by their coach. Their coach Cyril Burke trains just as hard as they do, and as a matter of fact, it's his proud boast he can beat most of them over a 25-yard dash. And it's not bad for a chap who's now rising 46, 47. But Berkey's out there training with them just as hard any night of the week that they do train. And comes the 25-yard dashes. Because mind you, he's got a flying start. He's the man who says go, but nevertheless, he still beats them over the 25 yards.
There's Mowbray, this time again almost in the centre of the field. 10 yards inside of Boolaroo's half. That's a better looking kick, but it swings away at the last minute and out over the dead ball line. Still 17-0 in favour of the Waratahs. I think Cyril Burke's just down in front of our commentary position. Hardly you'd call him an excitable person. Not much anyhow. Dick this time does a charge across field and then straightens up. Shot's a loose pass, but still Waratah managed to get on. Perrin toes it through, but it's out on the full. A throw in, and it will be on the far side. Hamilton to throw it in for Boolaroo.
I've been watching Cyril during this game. He's died 1,000 deaths so far.
Shipwell got that ball away. Dunnicliffe couldn't handle it as Hamilton charged in over there and pushed him over the touchline. Back to Engett. Boolaroo have the ball and ruck. Lopes gets it away to Fraser in his own 25. Kicks it down to Mowbray. Mowbray running back, but it's crossed the touchline. And the throw-in will be by Dunnicliffe for the Waratahs. It's a good kick by Fraser.
We've got a Harry James in the background. I don't know whether it's been picked up or not, but just a Waratah supporter.
I think I could explain to him what Harry James would tell him to do with this trumpet, which is not play it. That was a good move as Robson came in and took the ball away from Hipwell. It was of no avail. And get to Fraser. McNamara. Burge coming in with a long run. The defence of Hipwell is good. It's picked up there by Dawnay. Horton got the ball away very well. Looked as though it was Adam coming through there. So Ruck. Almost on the halfway mark.
The referee will blow it up, yes. He had no alternative with the fact the ball was held up and no one getting aware of it.
Still 17-0 in favour of the Waratahs. Player down. Boolaroo player to score the Waratahs 17, Boolaroo 0. Scrum set now. Hipwell to put the ball in for the Waratahs. Just inside the Waratahs territory. Referee's decided it's moved off the mark and brings them back. All good tactics as far as the Waratahs are concerned because it takes time. Penalty to Boolaroo.
I think John Hipwell knew the penalty was against him even before he looked up to see which way the referee's arms were pointing. I think the ball went in quite straight.
Fraser. No shot at goal this time, but he puts the ball high. It's an up and under. This player's Little was first down there. Boy, gee, he went through there quickly. The ruck's about 10 yards outside of the Waratahs line. Young end could ever get this, he'd have been over, but it's Hipwell, a good run. He kicks it down the centre of the field. It goes past Burge. Good run here by Perrin to get down to Burge, but Burge puts the ball up. Adam takes it, knocks it down. Burge goes through, but it's picked up by Dick. The referee's whistle had gone. I'd say it'd be a knock on there between the two Waratah players. Burge
I think that was
Adam.
a cardinal sin that one player should call for the ball.
There's Cyril Burke, you know, not a bit worried, only going through the motions of being a signaller. Cyril Burke, an ornament also to the great game of rugby union. There's Fraser along the far side. Hipwell knocks it down. And it's gone over the far touch. Throw in this time by Carroll.
I think Cyril was probably thinking all the horrible things that he'd like to be doing to them, but not quite prepared to get out there and do it. Although, I don't know, the way Cyril goes on, sometimes he would.
Engard gets that ball away again. He and Ling are doing a great job between them. That was a good move. It's out to Fraser. Fraser, a careless pass that time to Carroll, and Carroll is knocked to the ground by Dunnicliffe, who came right across the field. Dunnicliffe takes it down on the toe. Picked up there by Hamilton. Hamilton kicks back. Mowbray, here's a chance because there's on the far side of the field, although there's no fast players over there, Horton's trying to keep up. Mowbray kicks it out on the full. It's bad luck he only had Horton over there with him. Both wingers had sort of charged in opposite directions.
Horton is remarkably fast, though. In fact, Horton played halfback for Waratah a few games while Hipwell was out injured, and he's a very mobile sort of player.
Engard, Fraser, McNamara. Good kick. It's got Mowbray going back, but it's picked up by Powell. Powell finds touch as he is tackled. Yeah, McNamara, the boy in the centre for Boolaroo, is the brother of Greg McNamara, the Australian light heavyweight champion at the present time.
Well, a good lad to tackle and stop at that, I'd say.
Fraser has scored in
If
the
he emulates his brother, he'd be a
final.
very tough man to get
Greenwich
tied up with.
15 leading Manly 0.
It's a long throw in. This time it helps Boolaroo. No, it doesn't. Boolaroo come away with the ball. I thought Waratahs were going to get to it quicker. Hamilton this time coming across field. He has Burge outside of him. He decides to go. Now he passes, but that was too late. It's picked up by Adam. Adam gets it away, but Lopes takes it for Boolaroo. Still in play. Knocked down by Hipwell, but it's what's he doing this time? A penalty to Boolaroo.
Waratah players seem to be getting a little bit excited. Instead of one calling for the ball, there are 2 men at a time trying to take it.
Fraser puts this one high. Mowbray is knocked on. Fraser kicks it through, and it's a try. A clear try. Try and pick up who scored it. There were 2 players there. Fraser was one of them, but I don't think he was a try scorer. Could have.
Might have been Savage.
Fraser was the try scorer. Do they bring the ball back in Rugby Union?
Well, it is an indication. I think perhaps we might wait to see if the official answer is there, because he's looking right at it. They're actually coming straight at them. But the mad scramble there, he went over for it, but irrespective of who planted the ball down, it was enough to get Boolaroo 3 points.
Try for Boolaroo was scored by Brian Fraser. Mason scored
Was scored by Fraser, so we're lucky enough to half pick a winner that time. But there were 2 Boolaroo players diving at it. Fraser was certainly one of them at that stage. And Brian Fraser has scored a try for Boolaroo to make it 17-3 in favour of the Waratahs. Fraser will now attempt to convert his own try, put it back to the 25 and 12 yards in from the touchline. That's a better looking kick. As a matter of fact, that's a good kick. So it's 17-5 now in favour of the Waratahs.
Yes, that was a beautiful kick by Fraser. It appears to be he can handle the wet ball better than Mowbray can, because Mowbray's had a couple of attempted goals with the wet ball and slid off the side of his boot. Fraser puts them right through the middle.
On the kick-off, it's Waratah forming the ruck around Lopes, and Lopes tries to get the ball away over the top. But it's a penalty to Boolaroo.
Yes, it was against Horton. Horton had come round trying to smother the ball being passed out. He wasn't binding to his own man in the loose ruck, and referee Hughes grabbed him for it.
Again, Fraser puts it up, and Hipwell takes it well. I think he called for the mark, and he's been granted the mark.
The use of the fair catch in Rugby Union is quite a good tactic. It turns defence into attack, and Hipwell has been using it quite judiciously there. He was under pressure, steadied his forwards, got them inside the 25 yards, and therefore gained ground from the kick.
This time Little throws the ball in for Boolaroo. Taken through by Horton, but the referee has blown his whistle.
Right arm of the Boolaroo front row is doing great work in there.
Fraser puts the ball up again. It's not a particularly good kick. The ruck will be won, and Sengett. This time a good run there by Fraser. The Waratahs have taken the ball off them.
It was Perrin who started to step around but couldn't go anywhere.
17-5 in favour of the Waratahs. This is the second half now of the grand final in the Rugby Union. Player standing out, but Bear gets the ball for Waratah, kicks through the far wing. Hamilton takes it. Fraser coming back. Fraser covering a lot of ground, but this time it's a scrum 10 yards inside of Boolaroo's half. Fraser's covered a lot of ground for Boolaroo, but I still would sort out Engert and Ling as the two players for Boolaroo that have done a lot of good work. Bear to the far wing to Dunnicliffe. Dunnicliffe's put his foot into touch.
I think George Little is doing a great deal of work out there. He's doing no more. He's asking his players to do no more than he's doing himself, and he's been driving them and lifting his game. Never seen much of a front row forward, but Little has been spurring his Boolaroo fellows on. I can't quite follow Boolaroo's tactics in dropping out a player from the scrum when they're packing down. It seems as if they're considering they're going to lose the ball, they're getting a tremendous percentage of the ball from the scrums.
Well handled by Mowbray that time, and that is a good kick, a beautiful positional kick that time. Must have gained fully 40 yards with that kick, right down to the Boolaroo 25.
It appears they bring this man out of the scrum and stand him out in defence fashion rather than an attack. If he was in the back line making an extra man, one would understand it, but he seemed to stand out as a second line of defence, and I just couldn't quite follow the reasoning behind it.
Is Little throwing the ball in for Boolaroo. Lopes wins it. Went right to Lopes, but the referee not satisfied, so now it will be a scrum.
Interesting to notice the little battle between Ling and Horton in the lineouts. Each trying to elbow the other out of the way.
Hipwell won that scrum. It's a blind side attempted movement, but a good run by Powell. Over to Dunnicliffe, and a great run in there by Dunnicliffe for a try for the Waratahs. 20-5 in favour of the Waratahs. I thought they were going the blind side then, but the winger Powell came in off that, took the pass, and they eventually scored on the far wing, mainly to the speed of Dunnicliffe. There's Cyril Burke, highly elated, probably almost as pleased as the trip that he's going to do around the world next year, isn't it, John?
Yes, I believe he leaves in August, and I would say that was one of the moves that Cyril's planned and replanted and driven these fellows until they could do it in their sleep, and it worked like a charm. Powell came in, Bear went the blind side, and I feel I must give credit to Harrison for the quick hands there. He got that ball and he had it out to his wing like a flash, and wingers score tries. That's the cardinal rule in any rugby match.
Mowbray from the far touch this time. Back about the 25, just short of the 25. Puts it up. And it's a goal. 22-5 now in favour of Waratahs.
Tries for the Waratahs was scored by Trevor Dunnicliffe and converted by Paul Mowbray. The Waratahs 22.
Be two tries to Dunnicliffe, wouldn't it?
Yes, and two good tries, a typical winger's try, going hard, driving for the corner post and getting in well. At this stage we'll see the ball flung around very well amongst the back lines of the Waratah boys. They're fit.
And there's Hipwell now. He looks as though he's looking for a player, but he beats one, gets it into Bear. I'm sorry, not Bear, Perrin. Perrin steps round to tackle him. Perrin goes in for a try for Waratah. $25-5 now in favour of the Waratahs. Mowbray bringing this ball back about 15 yards and just to the right of the uprights.
This is the speed of the Waratah backline as I felt that they would start throwing around furiously. I think that I've made a typical faux pas by crediting the fast hands in the try scored by Dunnicliffe to Harrison, when in fact it was Perrin, and again Perrin has shown his speed and skill by scoring that try.
This one should be fairly easy for Mowbray. Oh, he's hit the post, and again, one wrong. Still 25-5 in favour of the Waratahs.
Scored by John Perrin, making the scores now. The Waratahs 25, Boolaroo 5.
Fraser kicks off, probably in desperation. He's kicked to the open side, and Powell now has a run. Comes down the wing, kicks into the centre of the field. Engett takes the ball. And
It's unfortunate, a technical knock-on.
Yes.
It's a phrase that's not covered by the law as a technical knock-on, but it's the only way to describe it. He took the ball, hit his hands, went forward, and then even though he grabbed it again, it is in fact a knock-on. To me, it's a scourge of rugby union, but that's the way the law book reads, and that's the way we've got to follow.
Hipwell putting the ball in for the Waratahs. Engett, Fraser, McNamara, Fraser. Oh, I'd say that was close to being forward, but the referee allowed Hamilton to have that one. Towed back, and once again, Fraser backing up.
The Boolaroo lads are slowing to a trot where the Waratahs are firing.
Hidden talents as Burge kicks down over towards Powell's wing. Powell takes it well. Can't break the tackle. Goes down. Picked up and thrown away by Boolaroo. Boolaroo can't handle it as Hipwell goes through. Lopes picks it up for Boolaroo. Play on the halfway mark. This is a tough-looking ruck. There's the ball on the ground now. Set out to Hipwell, to Bear, but the referee had already indicated by blowing his whistle that it was a penalty to the Waratahs.
The Boolaroo player was offside in the ball or ruck, and was penalised for that.
Mowbray takes play now 5 yards from Boolaroo 25, and this time will be Boolaroo's throw-in. Carroll to throw, no, Little sending back. Little throws in for Boolaroo. Lopes once again doing a tower of work. Engett, Fraser knocked it down. Waratahs causing Boolaroo to lose ground as they ruck. Ball not on the ground. The referee's blown his whistle. Another scrum, 25-5 in favour of the Waratahs.
Well, it seems like the Waratahs have got another premiership under their belt. The Boolaroo lads have played hard, but apparently not hard enough.
It's a penalty to Boolaroo.
Waratah backliners have shown the superiority in today's play. They've had that ball quickly out to the wingers and left plenty of room for the winger to move. There's been no hanging on and running too far. Quick hands, ball's gone out. And after all, the ball pass will always beat the man running.
It's a long one to Hipwell. Hipwell looks for the open space. He's got them going back. He's got Boolaroo on their own try line, and they're very close to making a mess of that one.
They went very close to messing that one up.
Harrison was coming through very fast.
Matter of fact, I think they only got a penalty kick. They got a 5-yard scrum for offside in their own in goal. I thought one of the fellows offside was going to touch it.
Mowbray puts it in, runs over the touch line. It's knocked back there by Ansford, that player. And it must have been classed as a knock-on. There's the full-time bell. The referee has decided to call the game off now, with the Waratahs leading 25-5 and winning the grand final of the Rugby Union. John, your comments?
Well, Waratah once again showed that you play as a team, you win as a team. They had this cohesion that Waratah has had for some years now. It's the training and devotion that Cyril Burke puts into them, makes them a team. However, standing out in that fine team of players, I would think that Perrin and Dorney, Bear and Mowbray would be deserving of mention. I felt that Mowbray's kicking in the early part put the Waratahs well in front. Bear seemed to be everywhere throughout the first half. He tackled, he covered, he ran with the ball. Dorney did a tower of work. I felt that his cover defence was something to be admired. He was in everything. He didn't shirk the hard stuff. I noticed him down 3 times at least. Perrin, of course, with his very fast runs in the centre, was a great asset to Waratah. Not to be forgotten, the Boolaroo lads, they did all that was asked of them. Unfortunately, it just wasn't quite good enough. But Engert, of course, stands out as being one of the, I think, possibly a find of the season, because he is only 17. He has a great rugby future in front of him, and he did everything that one would expect of a halfback of far more mature experience. Lopes, of course, again played a tremendous game, and I would say that he is a player who will certainly come to great things in the future. Ling did what one would expect of him. He won plenty of the ball. He gave Boolaroo plenty of opportunities, but unfortunately they didn't have the good fortune to capitalise on it. Probably the outstanding players of the game, I would think, would be Engert for Boolaroo and, well, take your pick of Dorney or Mowbray or Bear or even Perrin for Waratah.
I go along with you, John. It was a good game of rugby union. Certainly the better team won. I'm become a fan of young Engert's myself. I think he's had a great game today. John, thank you very much for being my co-commentator.
My pleasure, Noel.
And this is the grand final of the rugby union. The Waratahs 25 defeated Boolaroo 5 from Noel Harrison and John Minor. Cheerio.